If I got in a spaceship and flew fast enough, could I actually travel to the future?
You already are, right now, sitting in that chair. You are traveling through time at the rate of 1 second per second. But that rate is not fixed. It is not the same for everyone, and the fact that you have spent your entire life assuming it is fixed is the single most incorrect thing you believe about reality.
Wait, what do you mean it is not the same for everyone?
I mean that time is not a river that everyone swims in together. It is more like, imagine every person has their own river, and depending on how fast they are moving, their river runs at a different speed. Your river and my river are running at nearly the same speed right now because we are sitting still relative to each other. But the moment one of us starts moving, really moving, the rivers diverge. And they do not come back together at the same place.
That sounds like science fiction.
That is what I love about physics. The universe does not care what sounds like fiction. It just does what it does, and we either figure it out or we don't. And here's the thing, we have figured this one out. It is not a theory in the sense of a guess. It is a measured, confirmed, documented fact. I will tell you about the experiment that proved it, but first let me ask you something. How far away do you think the nearest star is?
Besides our sun? I don't know. Millions of miles?
That is what everyone thinks. And it is wrong not because the number is slightly off, but because the word miles is almost insultingly small for what we are talking about. The nearest star, Proxima Centauri, is about 25 trillion miles away. 25 trillion. Now, I want you to try to feel that number, not just hear it. If you drove a car, a normal car, a highway speed, it would take you about 50 million years to get there.
50 million years.
And that is the nearest one. That is the neighbor. That is the equivalent of walking next door to borrow a cup of sugar. The Milky Way galaxy, our galaxy, the one we live in, is 100,000 light years across. If you shrank the entire solar system down to the size of a quarter, a single quarter, the Milky Way would still be the size of the continental United States.
I feel like I should feel something when you say that, but my brain just stops.
Yes, good. That stopping is honest. That is your intuition correctly identifying that it has no tools for this. Human brains evolved to judge distances of maybe a few miles, how far to the watering hole, how far to run from the predator. We have no intuition for 1 trillion miles. None. And this is where it gets truly strange. Stay with me, because the size of the universe is not just a humbling fact. It is a problem. A specific, practical, almost cruel problem.
What kind of problem?
The problem of getting anywhere. Because light, the fastest thing that exists, the absolute speed limit of the universe, nothing gets there faster. Light takes 4 years just to travel from Proxima Centauri to us. 4 years. At the maximum speed anything can ever travel. So even if we built a ship that could go that fast, which we cannot, not even close, but even if we could, a round trip to the nearest star takes 8 years minimum. And the center of our galaxy, 50,000 years. One way.
So we're just stuck here?
Not necessarily. And this is where Einstein comes in. And this is where I need you to forget everything you think you know about time. Because what Einstein discovered in 1905 is that the universe has a loophole. A strange, beautiful, mathematically perfect loophole. And it does not involve going faster than light. It involves something much weirder.
Okay, tell me.
First, let me give you the foundation. No equations, I promised you images and stories, and I keep my promises. Imagine you are standing on a train platform, and a train is going past you very fast. Someone on the train is bouncing a ball straight up and down, from where you are, standing on the platform. That ball is not going straight up and down, it is going in a zigzag. Up and forward, down and forward, because the train is carrying it horizontally while it moves vertically, you see?
Right, yes.
Now, imagine instead of a ball, it is a beam of light bouncing between 2 mirrors on the train. One mirror on the floor, one on the ceiling. The light goes up, hits the ceiling mirror, comes back down, hits the floor mirror, back and forth. To the person on the train, the light is going straight up and down, just like the ball. But to you, standing on the platform, the light is going in a zigzag, a longer path, a longer distance. Now, here is the thing that changes everything. The speed of light is constant. It does not matter if you are on the train or on the platform. It is always the same speed. This is not an assumption. It is one of the most tested facts in all of physics.
Okay.
So if the light on the train is traveling a longer path for you, the person on the platform, but it is traveling at the same speed, then it must be taking more time to complete each bounce for you on the platform. But for the person on the train, it is going straight up and down a shorter path, same speed, less time per bounce. The same physical event, one bounce of light, takes different amounts of time depending on who is watching. Time itself is running at different rates. This is special relativity. This is what Einstein found. Not a trick of perception, not an illusion. Actual physical time running at different speeds.
But that can't be real.
I know. Here is where I want to do a thought experiment with you, directly with you. I want you to be the astronaut.
Oh no.
You leave Earth. You get in a ship. This ship can travel at 99% the speed of light. Let's say we solve the engineering problems. I will come back to those because they are extraordinary. But for now, just go with me. You point the ship at a star 40 light years away. From Earth, from mission control, from your mother watching the launch. This trip looks like it takes about 40 years. She watches the calendar. 40 years pass. She is old now. Her hair is gray. She has grandchildren. 40 years of her life have gone by. Are you with me?
Yes. And I'm out there in the ship.
And you are out there in the ship. But for you, traveling at 99% the speed of light, time dilation is extreme. The trip does not feel like 40 years. For you, in your body, on your ship, watching your clock, it takes a little under 6 years.
6 years?
6 years. You leave at 30 years old. You arrive at 36. You have aged 6 years. Meanwhile, everyone on Earth aged 40. You land on that planet. You turn the ship around. You come home another 6 years for you, 40 more years for Earth. You left at 30. You arrive home at 42. But everyone you knew is 80 years older or dead.
That's not a physics problem. That's a tragedy.
Yes. I want to sit with that for a moment because I think that matters. People learn about time dilation as a formula, as a curiosity, as a party trick. But when you actually follow it through to the human end, you leave at 30, you come back at 42, and everyone is ancient or gone. That is not an abstraction. That is loss. That is a specific kind of loneliness that nobody in human history has ever experienced because nobody has ever actually done it. The traveler doesn't lose time. They lose everyone.
Do you ever, when you think about things like this, do you ever feel afraid?
I feel something. I am not sure afraid is the right word. I feel a kind of vertigo. The same feeling as standing on a very high cliff where part of you wants to step back and part of you wants to keep looking. The universe is so much stranger than anything we would have invented if we had sat down to make it up. And there is something almost unbearable about that. And also something wonderful.
Okay. You said you would tell me about the experiment. The one that proved this is real.
The muons. Yes. In the 1940s, physicists discovered particles called muons. They are created high in the atmosphere, about 10 miles up, when cosmic rays from space slam into air molecules. These muons then travel downward toward the Earth's surface at about 98% the speed of light. Now, muons are unstable, they decay, they fall apart, and we know very precisely how long they last. Their lifespan is about 2 microseconds. 2 millionths of a second.
That's incredibly short.
Incredibly short. So here is the calculation. A muon is created 10 miles up, traveling at 98% the speed of light. In 2 microseconds, its entire lifespan, even at that speed, it should only travel about 1.5 miles before it decays. It should never reach the surface. It should fall apart in the upper atmosphere, miles above us.
But it does reach the surface.
It does reach the surface. We detect them here, right here, all the time. And when physicists first saw this, they said, well, that's impossible. The math says it can't get here. And then someone said, wait, we did the calculation from our perspective, from the ground. But what about from the muon's perspective? For the muon, traveling at 98% the speed of light, time is running much slower. That 2-microsecond lifespan, from our perspective, thanks to time dilation, the muon experiences it as much longer. And from the muon's perspective, the distance to the surface has contracted. Space itself compresses in the direction of travel. Either way you look at it, from our frame or the muon's frame, the muon makes it. It survives. It arrives. Not because we adjusted the theory to fit the data, but because the theory predicted exactly this, and the data confirmed it.
The particle lives longer because it's moving fast.
The particle lives longer because it is moving fast. A tiny subatomic particle is our first time traveler. It gets to experience more of the universe, see more surface, travel more distance because time runs slower for it. This is not a model. This is not an approximation. Muons are your proof. Every time one hits a detector, the universe is telling you, yes, this is real. This is how I work.
Okay. You mentioned engineering problems earlier, the energy ones. You said you'd come back to that.
I did say that. Here is where I have to be honest with you about how hard this actually is. Getting to 99% the speed of light requires energy, not a little energy, not a lot of energy. A quantity of energy so obscene it restructures how you think about the word energy. Let me put it this way. The Saturn V rocket, the one that took us to the moon, burned about 2 million kilograms of fuel to put a tiny capsule with 3 men in it into space. To take a ship with a few people to 99% the speed of light, the amount of energy required is, and this is a real number, equivalent to several years of the total energy output of the entire human civilization. Every power plant, every solar panel, every drop of oil burned, everything for years to move a handful of people one way at nearly light speed.
That's impossible.
That is what everyone says. And here is the thing, it may not be permanently impossible, but here is the fact nobody talks about, and I promised I would get to it. The problem is not just generating the energy. The problem is carrying it, because mass is energy. Your fuel has mass. The more fuel you carry, the more mass you have. The more mass you have, the more energy you need to accelerate. The more energy you need, the more fuel you need to carry. The more fuel you carry, you see the problem. It is a circular trap. The equation for this, the rocket equation, tells you that to reach 99% the speed of light with a reasonable payload, you would need to carry a mass of fuel roughly 10,000 times the mass of your ship. And that fuel itself needs fuel to accelerate. It is turtles all the way down.
So there's no way to do it?
There are ideas, theoretical ideas. Some involve not carrying your fuel. Instead, you collect it as you go. Hydrogen is everywhere in space, very thin, but everywhere. You could imagine a scoop on the front of the ship, a giant electromagnetic funnel gathering hydrogen from the interstellar medium and fusing it for thrust. It is called a Bussard ramjet. It may not work. The drag from scooping might cancel out the thrust, but the idea is not crazy. There are ideas, theoretical ideas. Some involve not carrying your fuel. Instead, you collect it as you go, and then you coast.
These are real proposals?
These are real proposals from serious physicists and engineers. Speculative, yes. Impossible, not proven. The universe has not told us no yet. It has told us it is very, very hard. And here is where it gets truly strange. Stay with me one more time. Because even if we solved all of it, every bit of it, the energy, the engineering, the navigation, the radiation shielding, even if we built the perfect ship,
The time problem is still there.
the time problem is still there. You cannot outrun that. You leave, and while you are gone, time on Earth does not wait for you. It runs. It runs at its pace. 40 years to a star, 40 light years away. 40 years home. 80 years of Earth time, no matter what. The people who launched you are gone. The children of the children who launched you might still be alive. Maybe the music you loved is oldies now. The slang you used is archaic. The politics have changed 10 times over. The buildings you knew are different. You come back and you are a time traveler, not because you moved through time, but because the world moved through time and you didn't, and you meet the result.
Has anyone in any culture, any mythology, has anyone ever really grappled with what that would feel like?
There is a Japanese story, Urashima Taro, a fisherman who goes to the bottom of the sea, spends what feels like a few days in an underwater palace, comes back to shore, and finds that 300 years have passed. Everyone he knew is bones. The village is unrecognizable. He opens a box he was told never to open, and he ages 300 years in an instant, and he dies. It is a story people told for 1,000 years before Einstein was born, as if some part of human imagination always knew that time was dangerous, that leaving was not safe, that you might come back and find nothing waiting.
That story is heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking, and now it is physics.
Say someone actually goes. Say we somehow build the ship, solve the energy problem, find a volunteer, a crew of people. They go. They spend 6 years traveling 40 light years and back. They are in their 40s when they return. And Earth has moved on 80 years. Is there any upside to having done it?
What a question. Yes, several things. First, they have been somewhere no human has ever been. They have seen a star close up that every human before them only ever saw as a pinprick of light. They have seen its planets, if it has them. They have breathed, well, not breathed, but they have been in the presence of something genuinely new. Second, they have brought back knowledge. Whatever they saw, whatever they measured, whatever they discovered in those 12 years of travel, that data belongs to humanity, even if the humanity they return to is 80 years older. Third, and I think this is the one that matters most, they have proven something. They have proven that we are not stuck, that the universe's size is not a cage that has locked us in permanently, that there is a path, even if it is cruel and expensive and lonely, toward the rest of creation.
But the people who go, they give up everything.
They give up everything they knew, yes. They gain everything they see.
Could you have done it? If you were young and the ship existed, could you have gotten on?
I think about this more than I should probably admit. There is a part of me, the part that cannot stand not knowing, that would have been at the front of the line. There is another part of me, the part that loves people, that needs conversation, that finds joy in a good dinner with a friend who knew me last year and will know me next year. That part would have stood at the gangway and been unable to step forward. I think I would have spent a long time at that gangway. I hope I would have eventually stepped forward. I am honestly not sure.
What would you have wanted to see most?
I want to see what a star looks like from 10 miles away. I want to understand what light feels like when it is not filtered through an atmosphere. I want to know if space is actually black or if it is something darker and more complicated than that. I want to see a planet that is not this one and ask whether the laws of physics really are the same there, or whether our corner of the universe has fooled us into thinking we understand the whole thing. I want to check. I want to verify. This is, I suspect, the central motivation of my entire life. I want to check.
Now let me ask you something. We have been talking about what it would feel like for the traveler, the person in the ship. 6 years, 40 light years, a strange homecoming. But what would it feel like inside the ship? Day to day, year to year, would it feel slow?
That is what everyone assumes, and it is wrong. This is one of my favorite misunderstandings in all of physics, and I want to be very clear about it because it changes everything about how you picture this.
Okay.
The traveler does not experience anything unusual at all. There is no slowness, no thickness to time, no sense of being in slow motion. From inside the ship, everything is perfectly normal. Your heart beats normally. Food takes the same time to cook. You age normally. You have normal conversations, normal days, normal nights. The physics of the ship, from inside, is indistinguishable from physics on Earth. You do not feel the time dilation. You simply live your life, and you live 6 years of it, and you arrive and you discover that everyone else lived 40 years while you were living 6. The strangeness is not felt during the journey. It is only discovered at the destination.
That's almost worse somehow.
It is. If it felt strange, you would know, you would be prepared. But it feels like Tuesday. It feels like just another week. And then you land and you find out what Tuesday cost you.
Is there any, and this might be a strange question, is there any version of this where someone travels and comes back and nobody has aged much? where the time dilation works both ways?
This is the question everyone eventually gets to, and I am glad you got there because it lets me address one of the most common confusions in all of popular science. People hear about relativity and they say, well, motion is relative, so if I am moving relative to you, are you not also moving relative to me? And if so, should your time not be dilated from my perspective too? And the answer is yes, but only in certain circumstances. If we are both in constant, unaccelerated motion, then there is a symmetry. But here is the crucial thing. The traveler has to accelerate. To leave Earth, turn around, and come back, you must accelerate, you must change direction. And acceleration breaks the symmetry. The traveler has changed their state of motion in a way that the person on Earth has not. The acceleration is the thing that makes the asymmetry real. The person on Earth does not feel any force. The traveler does. They are pushed into their seat, turned around, pushed again. And that experience, that acceleration, is what makes the aging difference real and permanent and not a matter of perspective.
So there's no escape.
There is no escape. The universe has exactly one loophole regarding the size of itself, and that loophole exacts a cost, and the cost is everyone you knew.
We keep coming back to that.
Because it is the truth that does not let go of you once you've seen it. All the equations are interesting, the muons are interesting, the energy calculations are interesting. But the human cost, this is the thing I think about when I'm not doing physics. A person who travels between stars is by definition a person who has given up their world, every world they have ever known, and they've done it knowing in advance, with full information. That kind of commitment to knowing, to seeing, to understanding, I find that more moving than almost anything in human history.
Let me ask you about the philosophical end of this. You said very early that the universe is under no obligation to make sense. But it does something better. What does it do?
It is consistent. That is the miracle. Not that the universe is simple, it is not simple. Not that it is beautiful in the way a painting is beautiful. It is sometimes ugly, sometimes bizarre, sometimes almost deliberately confusing. But it is consistent. The same rules everywhere. The same speed of light in a laboratory in New Jersey as in a detector picking up muons in the upper atmosphere as we believe we have evidence in a galaxy 11 billion light years away. The same rules, always. The universe is not obligated to be understandable. It is not obligated to follow rules. It is not obligated to behave the same way in one place as another. And yet it does. And because it does, we can learn. We can ask a question here on this small planet in this small window of time and get an answer that is true everywhere, always. That is not something the universe owed us, but it is what we have. And I have never found the right word for what I am about the fact that this is true. Grateful seems too small. Astonished seems too mild.
Do you think the universe cares about us?
No. I think the universe is utterly indifferent. But I think indifference is not the same as hostile. The universe does not care about you the way you might wish something would care about you. It will not protect you. It will not arrange things for your benefit. It will not intervene. But it will play by rules. It will be the same tomorrow as today. It will allow you to study it. It will not deceive you. If you ask it a clean question with a good experiment, it will give you a true answer. An indifferent universe that tells the truth is, in my opinion, an extraordinary place to be alive.
I wasn't expecting to feel something from that, but I do.
Physics does that. People think it is cold. It is the least cold thing I know.
We have been talking about what the traveler loses, the friends, the time, the world. But is there anything about this that you find hopeful? Genuinely hopeful?
Yes. Several things. The first is that the universe is large but not infinite, at least not in the observable sense that matters to us, and the rules work everywhere in it. The second is that we are very young. As a civilization, as a species that does science, we are extraordinarily young. 300 years from Newton to quantum mechanics, that is nothing. A muon lasts longer, proportionally, compared to our scientific history. We have barely started. The third, and this one keeps me up at night in the good way we have already, in just a few centuries of organized investigation, cracked open the mechanism of time itself. We know it bends. We know it is not universal. We know how to calculate by how much. We have confirmed it with particles and with atomic clocks on airplanes and with satellites in orbit whose GPS systems must correct for relativistic time dilation or they will be wrong by kilometers every day.
GPS uses relativity?
Every time you use GPS to navigate, your device is correcting for two relativistic effects simultaneously, special relativity, because the satellites are moving fast and their clocks run slow, and general relativity, because they are in a weaker gravitational field up there and their clocks run fast. If you did not make those corrections, your GPS would drift by about 11 kilometers per day. The engineers who built it had to take Einstein seriously or the whole thing fails. Relativity is not an exotic curiosity. It is infrastructure. It runs in your pocket every day.
I have used GPS 1,000 times and never thought about that once.
Most people haven't. And I don't say that critically. There is no reason they should have to. But I like the image. There are people navigating to restaurants and grocery stores and their children's schools. And underneath that navigation is a correction for the fact that time runs at different speeds in different gravitational fields and at different velocities. Einstein is in your pocket. He's been there for years. He's helping you get to the supermarket.
Okay, I want to go back to the Voyager. The person who gets on the ship, they know what they're giving up. They go anyway. They spend 6 years traveling. They arrive somewhere, some star, some planet, and they stand there or float there and they look around. And nobody from Earth will know what they're seeing for 40 years, because that's how long it takes light to carry the message home. They are completely, utterly alone, in a way no human has ever been. What do you think goes through their mind?
I think they look around and they think, I am the first eyes that have ever seen this. These photons, the ones entering my eyes right now from this sun, from this sky, from this landscape, have been traveling for however many billions of years, and they hit exactly nothing until right now. Until me. I am the first witness this light has ever had. And I think after that thought, they think something much simpler. Something like, I wish someone were here to see this with me.
That's the loneliest thing I've ever heard.
It may be the most human thing I have ever said. Knowing is wonderful. Knowing alone is incomplete.
Is that why you think we should go? Because it's incomplete to just sit here and know there's all this out there?
I think we should go because we are the kind of thing that asks questions. Whatever we are, and I hold a lot of uncertainty about the deeper nature of what a human being is, we are at minimum the kind of entity that looks at the sky and asks why, and asks how far, and asks what's over there, and then, crucially, refuses to be satisfied with a guess when a measurement is possible. That is what makes us extraordinary. Not our size, not our strength, not our speed, not our lifespan. We are tiny, weak, slow, and short-lived by any cosmic measure, but we can know things. We can figure out that time bends. We can send a clock on an airplane and measure the bending. We can predict where a particle should be and check. That ability to know the universe from inside it is, as far as I can tell, not guaranteed anywhere. It is not a feature the universe was obligated to include, but it included it in us. And I think the appropriate response to that gift is to use it as completely as we possibly can.
Even if it costs everything?
Especially then.
Last question, and I mean it. I want you to give me a real one, not a comfortable one. If you could ask the universe one question and get a true answer, not about engineering, not about how, but a real, fundamental question, what would it be?
I would not ask about aliens. I would not ask about God. I would not ask what came before the Big Bang, though that one tempts me. I would ask this. Is there someone else out there, not necessarily alive in our sense, not necessarily aware in our sense, but some other arrangement of matter and energy that has, as we have, figured out that the universe is consistent? That has, as we have, taken the trouble to notice? Because if the answer is yes, then we are not accidents, we are a pattern. And if the answer is no if, in this entire universe, across all its billions of years and hundreds of billions of galaxies, we are the only thing that has ever looked up and tried to understand then. what we are doing, right here, right now, is the most important thing that has ever happened. Either answer is extraordinary, and I genuinely do not know which one I am hoping for.
I think I'm hoping we're not alone, but I'm more afraid of the answer where we are.
Why?
Because if we're the only ones, then everything depends on us, and we're not doing very well.
No, we are not. But we are doing better than nothing. We built the atomic clock. We launched the satellite. We detected the muon. We bent time and measured the bending and used the measurement to get people to the grocery store. We are not doing well enough, but we are unmistakably trying. And now let me ask you something, and I want you to actually answer it, not deflect it, not say you don't know, because I think you do know.
Okay.
If you found out right now with certainty that there is a ship, and it exists, and it works, and it will leave in 10 years for a star 40 light years away, and they need volunteers, people willing to spend 6 years in that ship, arrive somewhere nobody has ever been, look around with new eyes, and return to an Earth 80 years changed, would you go?
I want to say yes. I want to be the kind of person who says yes. But when I actually sit with it, actually feel what it means to come back and find everyone gone, I think I'd stand at the gangway for a very long time. And then I think I'd step forward. Because not going feels worse.
Yes, that's it exactly. Not going feels worse.